Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Storyline Myths. I am so glad you're here. Make yourself comfortable. Take a slow breath. And let me tell you one of the greatest stories ever told. This is the story of a baby who should have died on his very first night alive. His own family wanted him dead. A goddess sent two poisonous snakes to kill him in his bed. Two enormous snakes with fangs dripping with venom. But this baby did not cry. He did not scream. He reached out with his tiny hands and grabbed both snakes, one in each hand. And he squeezed. The snakes died in his fists. He was not even 1 year old. This baby would grow up to become the strongest person who ever lived. Stronger than any human, stronger than most gods. He would fight monsters. He would travel to the underworld. He would hold the entire sky on his shoulders. But his life was never easy. His life was full of pain, loss, and terrible sadness. He made mistakes, terrible mistakes, and he had to pay for them. His name was Hercules. And this is his story. If you enjoy learning English through stories like this, please subscribe to Storyline Myths. Your subscription helps us bring you more amazing mythology stories for your English journey. Now, the story of Hercules begins with a problem, a very big problem. His father was Zeus, the king of the gods, the most powerful being in the universe. We told his story in an earlier video on this channel. Zeus fell in love with a human woman. Her name was Alcmene. She was beautiful and kind. She lived in the city of Thebes in ancient Greece. Zeus visited Alcmene, and soon she became pregnant. She would give birth to a son who was half god and half human. But there was someone who was not happy about this. Someone very powerful. Someone very dangerous. Her name was Hera. She was Zeus's wife, the queen of the gods. Hera was tired of Zeus falling in love with other women. Every time Zeus had a child with someone else, Hera felt angry. She felt humiliated. She felt betrayed. And this time, her anger was deeper than ever before. Because Zeus made a promise. He said that the next child born in the family of Perseus would become a great king. Zeus meant Hercules. He wanted his son to rule. But Hera was clever. She was cunning. She used her power to delay the birth of Hercules. She made another baby in the same family be born first. That baby's name was Eurystheus. He was weak, he was small, he was nothing special. But because he was born first, he became king instead of Hercules. This was Hera's first act of revenge. But it would not be her last, not even close. When baby Hercules was born, Hera sent two giant snakes to his room. The snakes slithered through the darkness. They climbed into the baby's bed. Their eyes glowed yellow in the moonlight. Their tongues flickered in the air. But baby Hercules was not afraid. He grabbed both snakes with his tiny hands and killed them. Just like that. When Alcmene found her baby the next morning, he was sitting in his bed, smiling, holding two dead snakes like toys. She knew then that her son was not ordinary. Her son was something the world had never seen before. As Hercules grew up, it became clear very quickly that he was different from every other child. When other boys played with wooden swords, Hercules lifted real boulders. When other boys ran races, Hercules ran faster than horses. When other boys practiced wrestling, nobody wanted to wrestle Hercules because he was too strong. He was taller than everyone. His arms were thick. His chest was wide. His hands could bend iron. His legs could carry him up mountains without getting tired. But Hercules was not just strong. He had a good heart. He was kind. He laughed easily. He loved his friends. He loved his family. He wanted to help people. He wanted to protect the weak. The people of Thebes loved him. Children followed him in the streets. Old men told stories about him at dinner. Young warriors wanted to be like him. Hercules married a beautiful woman named Megara. They had children together. Hercules was happy. For the first time in his life, he felt peace. He felt that maybe, just maybe, his life could be normal. But Hera was watching. Hera was always watching. She waited for the perfect moment, the moment when Hercules was happiest, the moment when he had the most to lose. And then she struck. Hera used her divine power to put madness into Hercules' mind. Suddenly, Hercules could not see clearly. He could not think clearly. The world around him changed. His eyes saw monsters instead of people. His mind heard threats instead of laughter. In his madness, not knowing what he was doing, Hercules attacked his own family. When the madness passed, when his eyes became clear again, Hercules looked down at what he had done. His family was gone. The thing he loved most in the world was destroyed, and he had done it with his own hands. Hercules fell to his knees. He screamed. He cried. He wanted to die. The pain was unbearable. It was worse than any wound. It was worse than any battle. It was a pain that would never fully heal. The strongest man in the world felt completely broken. For days, Hercules sat alone. He did not eat. He did not drink. He did not speak. He stared at the ground and wished he could disappear. But eventually, Hercules stood up. Because that's what Hercules always did. No matter how hard life hit him, he stood up again. He went to the oracle at Delphi. The oracle was a holy woman who could hear the voice of the gods. People traveled from all over Greece to ask her questions about the future. Hercules asked, "What must I do? How can I make this right? How can I clean my soul?" The oracle spoke. Her voice was strange and distant, like an echo from another world. She said, "Go to King Eurystheus, the same king who took your throne before you were born. Serve him, do whatever he commands, complete his tasks, and you will be free." Hercules felt sick. Eurystheus was weak and cowardly. Serving him was humiliating. It was shameful for someone as powerful as Hercules. But Hercules accepted. He would do anything to find peace. He would do anything to pay for what he had done. And so began the most famous part of Hercules' story, the 12 labors. King Eurystheus was afraid of Hercules. He did not want Hercules anywhere near him. So he gave Hercules impossible tasks, tasks designed to kill him, tasks that no human and maybe no god could survive. The first labor was to kill the Nemean lion. This was not a normal lion. Its skin was so thick that no weapon could cut it. No sword, no spear, no arrow, nothing. Hercules found the lion in its cave. He tried to shoot it with arrows. The arrows bounced off. He tried to hit it with his club. The club broke. The lion roared. Its breath was hot and terrible. So Hercules did the only thing he could do. He grabbed the lion with his bare hands. He wrapped his enormous arms around its neck, and he squeezed. The lion fought back. It clawed at him. It bit him. But Hercules did not let go. He held on until the lion stopped moving. When it was over, Hercules took the lion's skin and wore it as armor. Since nothing could cut the skin, it became the perfect protection. From that day on, Hercules always wore the lion's skin over his shoulders. The second labor was to kill the Hydra. The Hydra was a giant serpent with many heads. But here was the terrible problem. Every time Hercules cut off one head, 2 new heads grew back in its place. Cut 1 head, 2 grow back. Cut 2 heads, 4 grow back. It was impossible. Hercules was losing. For the first time, he was truly stuck. But his nephew Iolaus had an idea. Every time Hercules cut off a head, Iolaus burned the stump with fire. The fire stopped new heads from growing. One by one, Hercules cut the heads, and Iolaus burned the stumps, until only 1 head remained, the immortal head, the head that could never die. Hercules cut it off and buried it under a huge rock. It was still alive under that rock, but it could never hurt anyone again. The labors continued, each one more dangerous than the last. Hercules captured a golden deer that could run faster than the wind. He caught it after chasing it for an entire year, a full year of running, day and night, through forests and over mountains, never stopping, never resting. He cleaned the stables of King Augeas. These stables had not been cleaned for 30 years. Thousands of cattle lived there. The filth was unimaginable. Eurystheus thought this task would humiliate Hercules. But Hercules was clever. He redirected 2 rivers to flow through the stables. The water washed everything clean in a single day. He fought and killed the Stymphalian birds. These were not ordinary birds. They had beaks of bronze and feathers that were sharp as knives. They could shoot their feathers like arrows. Hercules used a special rattle given to him by the goddess Athena to scare them into the air, and then he shot them down with his bow. He captured the Cretan bull, a massive, fire-breathing bull that was terrorizing the island of Crete. Hercules wrestled it to the ground with his bare hands and brought it back alive. He traveled to the land of the Amazons, a tribe of fierce warrior women. He had to take the belt of their queen, Hippolyta. At first, she offered it peacefully, but Hera, always interfering, caused a battle. Many died. Hercules got the belt, but at a terrible cost. He stole the cattle of Geryon, a giant with 3 bodies. He traveled to the very edge of the known world for this task. It is said that on this journey, Hercules placed 2 enormous pillars at the entrance of the Mediterranean Sea. We still call them the Pillars of Hercules today. The Rock of Gibraltar is one of them. He fetched the golden apples of the Hesperides. These apples grew in a garden at the edge of the world, guarded by a dragon that never slept. To get them, Hercules asked Atlas, the Titan who held the sky on his shoulders, to pick the apples for him. While Atlas was gone, Hercules held the entire sky. The weight of every star, every cloud, every inch of heaven pressed down on his shoulders. It was the heaviest thing anyone had ever carried. And then came the final labor, the most terrifying of all. Hercules had to go to the underworld, the land of the dead, the kingdom of Hades, and he had to bring back Cerberus. Cerberus was the guardian of the underworld. A massive dog with 3 heads. Snakes grew from his back. His teeth could crush bones. His bark could shake the earth. No living person was supposed to enter the underworld, and no one was supposed to leave. But Hercules walked in. He walked through the darkness. He walked past the souls of the dead. He walked until he found Hades, the king of the underworld, sitting on his dark throne. Hercules asked permission to take Cerberus. Hades looked at him with cold, ancient eyes. "You may take him," Hades said, "but only if you can capture him without weapons. Use only your hands." Hercules found Cerberus. The 3-headed dog snarled and roared. It lunged at Hercules with all 3 mouths open. Hercules grabbed the beast. He wrapped his arms around all 3 necks. Cerberus bit him. The snakes on its back hissed and struck, but Hercules held on. Slowly, the beast stopped fighting. It recognized something in Hercules, something stronger than itself. Hercules carried Cerberus out of the underworld and brought it to King Eurystheus. When Eurystheus saw the 3-headed dog, he was so terrified that he hid inside a giant pot. "Send it back!" Eurystheus screamed from inside the pot. "Send it back right now!" Hercules smiled. He returned Cerberus to the underworld. The 12 labors were complete. Hercules was free. His sins were forgiven. His soul was clean. But his story was not over. Hercules continued to have adventures. He saved people. He fought monsters. He traveled to places no one had ever been. He married again. He fell in love again. He tried to find happiness again. But the pain of his past never fully disappeared. It stayed with him like a shadow. Every night, when the world was quiet, Hercules remembered what he had lost, and the memory hurt just as much as the first day. The end of Hercules' life came through betrayal. Not from a monster, not from a god, from a poisoned shirt. His wife Deianira was tricked by a dying centaur. The centaur told her that his blood was a love potion. If she put it on a shirt and gave it to Hercules, he would love her forever. But it was not a love potion, it was poison. When Hercules put on the shirt, the poison burned his skin like fire. He screamed in agony. He tried to tear the shirt off, but it was stuck to his body. The more he pulled, the more his skin came with it. The pain was unbearable. Even for Hercules. Even for the strongest person who ever lived. Hercules knew he was dying. He built a funeral pyre, a great pile of wood on top of a mountain. He lay down on top of it. He asked someone to light the fire. The flames rose around him. The heat was enormous. But something happened. As the mortal part of Hercules burned away, the divine part, the part that came from Zeus, became free. A golden light surrounded him. The clouds opened above. Zeus reached down from Mount Olympus and lifted his son into the sky. Hercules became a god, a true god, immortal, free from pain forever. Hera, who had hated him his entire life, finally made peace with him. She accepted him into Olympus. The war between them was over at last. And so Hercules, who started as a baby strangling snakes in his bed, who lost everything he loved, who served a cowardly king, who fought impossible battles, who traveled to the land of the dead and came back, who suffered more than any person should ever suffer, finally found peace. Not because life was fair. Life was never fair to Hercules, but because he never stopped, he never gave up. He always stood back up. He always kept going. And that is why, 2,500 years later, we still tell his story. The name Hercules means glory of Hera. It is one of the great ironies of mythology. The goddess who hated him most is the one whose name he carries. Today, when someone is very strong, we call them Herculean. When a task seems impossible, we call it a Herculean effort. His name has become a word in our language, a word that means strength, courage, and never giving up. Movies, books, cartoons, and video games all tell the story of Hercules. Disney made a famous animated film about him. The phrase "from zero to hero" comes from that film. Millions of children around the world know his name before they learn to read. But the real Hercules, the original Hercules from the ancient myths, was not a cartoon hero. He was a broken man who put himself back together. He was a person who made the worst mistake imaginable and spent the rest of his life trying to make it right. And that is a story that every human being can understand, because all of us make mistakes. All of us carry pain. All of us have moments when we want to give up. Hercules reminds us that we do not have to be perfect. We just have to keep going. And you, my friend, are on your own journey right now, the journey of learning English. Some days it feels like fighting the Hydra. You solve one problem and two more appear. You learn one grammar rule and discover three exceptions. But you are still here. You are still listening. You are still fighting. That makes you like Hercules. Not because you are the strongest, but because you refuse to quit. Every word you learn is a labor completed. Every story you understand is a monster defeated. And one day, when you look back at everything you've accomplished, you will feel something amazing. You will feel proud. and you should. Thank you so much for listening today. If this story touched your heart, please leave a comment below. Tell me, which story do you want to hear next? The dark and mysterious tale of Hades, king of the underworld. The tragic story of Medusa, the monster who was once a beautiful girl? Or the cunning adventures of Loki, the Norse trickster god? Subscribe to Storyline Myths so you never miss a new story. And come back soon, because another incredible journey through ancient mythology is waiting for you. See you in the next story, my friend.